So hi everyone, welcome to today's class. So today we are going to discuss about AWS KMS, and this is going to be pretty interesting. It's an amazing service that you can use for data encryption. You can create your own symmetric and asymmetric keys, and we will shortly look at all of the different features that it provides us with. And specifically, we will also look at some of the features that are pertaining towards the security specialty exam, or possibly your solutions architect associate exam, or even just what is KMS for the cloud practitioner exam, right? So I hope you guys would enjoy this lecture, and let's get started. So AWS KMS, or Key Management Service, it makes it easy for you to create and manage your cryptographic keys and control their use across a wide range of AWS services in your applications. So you can also control it in such a way that you can specify that this person is your key administrator and this person is your key user. And you can also create your own customized key policies, which we will look at later in the slides, which will help you in terms of compliance, in terms of who can use your keys and who cannot use your keys, and at the same time who can go ahead and delete your keys, or possibly we will also look at some key policies wherein we can share our keys across accounts. And one thing to note, a very important point, is that AWS KMS is a region specific service. So therefore, if you create your keys in one specific region, you will not be able to copy these keys to another region. So if you want to use a particular service in another region which needs data encryption at rest, then please go ahead and create your keys in that respective region. So this is from the AWS FAQ for KMS that I'm specifying this point, that if you create your keys in one region, you cannot copy those keys into another region. You can't even extract or export your keys from AWS KMS. And AWS KMS is a secure and resilient service that uses hardware security modules in the background that have been validated under the FIPS or FIPS 142 compliance, or are in the process of being validated in order to protect your keys. And therefore, AWS KMS, since it's using hardware security modules in the background, it is tamper resistant in one way, because your hardware resistant modules are, or your hardware security modules are, they are also called as HSMs, are tamper resistant, and they cannot be, penetrated into. And even if you go ahead and specify 5 wrong passwords, if you create your own hardware security module, then if you specify 5 wrong passwords, then automatically all of your keys within the hardware security module will be deleted. So that's the kind of security you have in terms of having your own hardware security module. But KMS also uses hardware security modules in the background, which is multi-tenant in nature. But you can create your own hardware security modules using the Cloud HSM service of AWS, which is called as Cloud Hardware Security Module, or Cloud HSM, which is single tenant in nature, which means it is dedicated only for your own use. But KMS is multi-tenant. Okay. And AWS KMS also integrates pretty well with AWS CloudTrail in order to provide you with all of the necessary logs in terms of who used the key, and possibly in terms of all of your compliance and regulatory requirements. You can even track a person who has encrypted an object using a specific key, and whether he has gone ahead and decrypted, or at the same time you can also find out whether a person has deleted your key. And if a person has disabled your key, then you can possibly have a scenario wherein you can use a Lambda function in accordance with CloudWatch events in order to go ahead and enable that key if suppose a person disables that key, right? So these are some of the compliance mechanisms that you can have in your organization. So I'll just repeat that scenario once more. So let's say that we have user A, and user A goes ahead and disables a key, and then you immediately find out by monitoring your CloudTrail events with CloudWatch events, and you find out that a person called user A has disabled your key. You can trigger a Lambda function from CloudWatch events, which goes ahead and enables that key again, right? And when it comes to symmetric and asymmetric keys, AWS KMS for a very long time was supporting only symmetric keys, but then they also support asymmetric keys. And when you create your own hardware security module, or using the Cloud HSM service, where you have your own dedicated hardware security module, it also supports symmetric and asymmetric keys. And when I mentioned before that with KMS, you cannot go ahead and export your key material outside, which are only AWS managed key material. But when you have a hardware security module for yourself, which is for your own dedicated purpose, you can export your key material. That's possible. Okay. And symmetric encryption is a type of encryption wherein only one key is used for both the encryption and decryption process. But when it comes to asymmetric cryptography, which is also known as public key cryptography, it is a process wherein you use two keys, similar to that you would use for SSHing into an operating system, which is probably using the RSA algorithm with 2048 or 4096 bits. and you can go ahead and use it wherein you will have a public key and a private key, wherein the public key will be on that specific server, which will be known to everyone, but then you use the private key in order to go ahead and encrypt or decrypt your message. So I mean, it's pretty cool, and KMS supports both symmetric and asymmetric cryptography. So the easiest way to understand this is server-side encryption with S3 with AES 256 is symmetric encryption, which you studied when we studied about encryption strategies in S3. And RSA encryption that you generally use for key pairs with EC2 instances, that is asymmetric cryptography, wherein you have a public key and a private key, where the public key is the lock and the private key is the one that unlocks the lock. So some of KMS features that we are going to study. So KMS provides you with centralized control over the life cycle of the permissions of your keys. So you can create new keys whenever you wish, and you can also control who manages the keys versus the people who can use them. You can also schedule a key deletion. But if suppose you let AWS themselves manage your key, then you can go ahead and specify the scheduled key deletion, but you can't delete the key immediately. But if suppose you import your own key material into AWS KMS using an external key material that you use to, sign your customer master key, and you use your external key material, then what you can possibly do is you can delete the key material whenever you want on the console, which will be immediately deleted. But when you're allowing AWS to manage your key material, then you cannot immediately delete it. You can only schedule a deletion. Okay. And as an alternative to using keys generated by KMS, you can also import your keys from a key management infrastructure, such as your keys stored in AWS Cloud HSM cluster, wherein it's dedicated for your own use, where it's single tenant and not multi-tenant like KMS. You can also choose automatic rotation for your master keys generated in AWS KMS once per year, if suppose you are allowing AWS to manage the customer master key. But if it's an external key that you use, an external key material that you import into KMS, that means you don't get the automatic rotation of your master key automatically. You have to do manual rotation. But if you let AWS manage your customer master key, then you can allow the automatic rotation of your master keys every once a year. But then there are also AWS keys that are managed by AWS itself for certain specific AWS services. Those are automatically rotated once every 3 years. Okay. So I'll show you the difference when we go to the console, that there are 3 different ways. One is AWS's own managed keys, and the other one is where you create your own customer master key, but then you let AWS manage it. And in the third scenario, wherein you create your own external key material and then you import it into KMS. These are the 3 different key strategies that you can use. The service automatically keeps older versions of the master key available if suppose it does a rotation in order to decrypt your previously encrypted data. So these are some of the things that you have to remember. So these are all of the supported services. I was able to bring it into one slide. So these are all the supported services. So AWS KMS seamlessly integrates with most of the AWS services. These integrations use envelope encryption, wherein a data encryption key used by the AWS service is used to encrypt your data that is protected under a customer master key, which is either stored in KMS. So there are 2 types of customer master keys. One that is AWS managed, that is created automatically when you go ahead and create a customer master key on the AWS service of key management service. The second one is a customer managed key that only you can create. So therefore, wherein you import your own external key material. And regarding the other features of KMS, you have CloudTrail, which is enabled for your AWS account. So each and every request that you make to AWS KMS is recorded in a log file that is delivered to an S3 bucket. Because all of the log files of CloudTrail activities are delivered to S3 buckets. The information recorded also includes the details of the user, the time, the date, the API action, which was done in order to encrypt the data or decrypt the data or generate the data key and so on. The CMK that you create or the ones that are created on your behalf by other AWS services cannot be exported. So therefore, like I mentioned, it can't be exported outside. So therefore, AWS KMS takes the responsibility in terms of durability. And since it stores all of your data within the region across multiple availability zones, and it's a managed service, you get the 99.119 durability. So AWS KMS also provides you the option for you to create your own key store using a Cloud HSM cluster. So a small tidbit regarding Cloud HSM cluster is that you need to create this cluster in a private subnets. And then once you create the cluster, you have to activate the cluster, add a node to the cluster, which is a hardware security module, which is a node added to the cluster. You can have multiple nodes. It's pretty costly. Long back, it was around $5,000. So therefore, not many college students were able to use. Right now, it's on a hourly basis that you pay for the Cloud HSM cluster. And once you have activated the Cloud HSM cluster, you can go ahead and start creating your own key material over there. Okay. And you can also, there are some user types in Cloud HSM, which we'll be studying later when we have a dedicated lecture about Cloud HSM itself. Okay. And when you create a CMK in a custom key store, the service generates and stores the key material in a Cloud HSM cluster that you own and manage. And when you use the CMK in the custom key store, the cryptographic operations that are performed in your Cloud HSM cluster. Okay, so that means in a single line, you can describe all of these statements as that you can integrate your Cloud HSM cluster with KMS, and I'll show you that on the console as to how you would do that. So regarding KMS's compliance, it has compliance in regards with SOC 1, 2, and 3. You can download these reports from AWS Artifact, which is a service that gives you all of these reports. It is PCI DSS level 1 compliant. You can go ahead and look at the PCI DSS FAQ for AWS KMS. It is FIPS 140-2 compliant, and both AWS Cloud HSM as well as AWS KMS, both of them are FIPS 140-2 compliant. I don't think so in the year 2017 it was, but later they have made it, up to the level 2 of compliance. And it is also FedRAMP compliant. And finally, HIPAA compliant for health related data. You can look at the HIPAA compliance page. So again, going into the exam, you don't need to know all this, but just giving you an overview as to what KMS is compliant with what compliance programs. So like I mentioned at the start, we spoke about certain key policies that you can create, right? So you can have a key created or a customer master key created, and then you can have an administrator for that key who has all of the necessary permissions in order to use that key or go ahead and administer that key, add other administrators for that key, and also at the same time delete the key. And then you have key users who can generally do the encryption and decryption or even generate the data key. So over here, the policy that you see over here, it has the principal field which is not present in IAM policies. So this principal field denotes a user in IAM or even a role that you can map to this key, wherein you can specify all of the actions that the person can do. This role or this user can go ahead and perform all of these actions on the KMS resource, which can be any key in KMS. And a good thing to always remember is you can have a conjunction of both IAM policies and key policies. But one thing to remember is, even if your IAM policies allow you to do all of these actions on the respective resource of that key, if your key policy goes ahead and denies those actions, then you will be denied. So if suppose there is an explicit deny on your key policy and then there is a lot of allow statements on your IAM policy, you will still be denied because it's a union of both. So that is one thing to remember. Okay. So similarly, we have a key policy for the users. So this is a key policy for the user. So you can see over here, we have a user, we have a role, and also the administrator, and he can do actions in regards with encryption, decryption, or re-encryption, or even generate the data key, or even describe the key material and so on. And you can also see over here, we have an extra section over here that is called as grants. And we'll be looking into grants a little bit because grants are something that is very important for your security specialty exam. And grants are a concept wherein you provide temporary access. And the thing about grants is that you can use grants to only allow specific permissions to a user or to a role, but then you can't use deny statements in your grants. You can only use allow statements. And this is generally to give temporary permissions. So that's all you need to remember regarding grants. And you can use the AWS CLI commands in order to create a grant, in order to list all the grants. And in fact, in order to go ahead and revoke a grant also includes a grant token. Okay. So the minimal permissions that are required when you would like to provide permissions to a user in order to use a key, the minimal permissions are to allow him to encrypt, to decrypt, to re-encrypt, and also to generate the data key. These are the minimal, the most least privileged permissions that you can give to a user in order to use that key. So therefore, in AWS KMS, there are also some advanced concepts in terms of policy conditions. So therefore, this particular slide describes about wherein you have a KMS which supports the virtual private cloud endpoints that are powered by AWS Private Link, which is an interface endpoint. So in this example, what you can also do is you can use these global conditions in a key policy to restrict access to AWS KMS CMKs to requests that come only from within the VPC or from a VPC endpoint. So you can use the AWS source VPC or you can use the AWS source VPCE specifying the endpoint ID. So therefore, all of your request, only if it comes from that respective VPC endpoint, then only it will be validated and only then you will be able to do all of your encryption and decryption actions. So similar to that, we have also one more condition, which is called as the key origin condition. This also comes up in some of the practice tests that I've seen. So the KMS key origin condition key controls access to operations based on the value of the origin property, and the valid values are whether it comes from AWS KMS or whether it comes from Cloud HSM or whether it comes as an external. So if suppose you are presenting your own external key material to AWS KMS, you can go ahead and specify the key origin is external in nature, and you can associate this policy. And there is one more policy condition which is very important is you can use this policy condition wherein you have this principal user, and then you have all of these actions that the user can do, and all of these actions can also be done only if the condition is via that particular service, which is EC2 residing in the US West 2 region, or if it's the RDS service residing in the US West 2 region. So therefore the KMS via service condition key limits use of an AWS customer master key to request from specified AWS services. You can also specify more than one AWS services since it's an array, but then you can also go ahead and deny permissions to use a CMK when the request comes from a specific service. So therefore, if I specify a deny over here, what means is that if suppose the request comes from EC2 or RDS, then that action, all of these actions are going to be denied. Or if suppose right now it's allow, which means if the request is going to come from EC2 or RDS in this respective region, then the action will be allowed. So you can use this via service condition. You can also use the key origin condition in order to specify what is the origin of that key, whether it's KMS or Cloud HSM or external. You can also use one more condition wherein you specify the VPCE endpoint. And these are the three major conditions when it comes from an exam perspective. But then there are a lot of conditions that you can read on the documentation of AWS docs for KMS policy conditions. So now let's go to the console and let's start looking at how do we create our own keys with AWS KMS. So right now I'm already logged into the console. I'm logged into my personal account because the previous account that I was using was suspended due to non-payment. That's generally something that happens with my AWS accounts. So let's go to key management service. So key management service is under, I think it should be under security, identity, and compliance. So when you go to key management service, the first thing that I'm going to show you is what are the three types. Okay. The first thing that you can see on the left side is you have AWS managed keys, and these are ranging for different AWS services. So they do have one for AWS import export, they have one for ACM. And when you go ahead and start working with S3 and with other AWS services, you can go ahead and create. I mean, you will possibly see a list over here. You can't create, but then you can see a list over here that also supports other AWS services. Let me just switch my region to Mumbai and see if some of the other keys are shown. So right now we don't have any AWS managed keys over here. Let's look at Ohio. So in Ohio, there is one for ACM. Okay. So similar to this, in your AWS account also, you may see some AWS managed keys. Okay. But the second thing that we are going to do is we are going to create our own customer managed keys. And one point to note regarding AWS managed keys is these are automatically rotated once every 3 years. And that's something to remember. It's automatically rotated once every 3 years. Okay. And when we work with customer managed keys, we can schedule an automatic rotation once every year. So it's every 1 year that's being rotated. And even the previous key material will still be existing in your KMS console in order to go ahead and decrypt your data that you encrypted using your previous key material. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a key. So I'm going to choose an asymmetric key over here. And you can see also the option for asymmetric keys. I'm going to use the symmetric key, but right now you can see the third choice over here is to also use your own external key material. So you can use the OpenSSL commands in order to create your own external key material and then import it into AWS KMS, wherein you will be managing those key materials. So therefore, for that, you can't do automatic rotation. You have to do only manual rotation by yourself. But with KMS, which we choose right now, we will be able to do automatic rotation every year. Okay. And this is managed by AWS itself, AWS KMS itself. Okay. Other than that, you can also hook up your custom key store, which is Cloud HSM. And we will be looking at this a little bit later when we talk about Cloud HSM. Okay. So right now I'm going to choose KMS and go to next. I'm going to give an alias. So I'm just going to call this as my sample key. And you can also associate tags. The next screen is going to ask you to specify the key administrators. I don't have any IAM users over here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to IAM and create 2 users. So this is a pretty brand new account. I don't have any users over here. So I'm going to add a new user. I'm just going to put my name and I'm going to add one more user. I'm going to call this person my twin brother's name. Why not? And I'm going to give only AWS Management Console access, and I'm going to go with a custom password, something that I can remember. Okay. And I'm not going to allow them to reset their password because I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And in regards to permissions, the permissions that I'm going to do is over here is, let me not attach permissions right now, but let me go ahead and attach it later. Okay. So right now I'm not going to attach anything. Let me go ahead and click on tags, review, and go ahead and create the users. Okay. So let me click on close. So right now for the user Akshay, I'm going to give permissions, which is going to be working with S3, full access, and also read-only access to the entire AWS account. So if you scroll down over here, there'll be one IAM policy which talks about only read-only access. Yes. Click on next review and click on add permissions. But to the user Ashray, I'm going to attach the administrator access policy. Okay. Click on next review, click on add permissions. Okay. So now one user is attached with the administrator access policy, which is God mode. And for the other user, we have attached policies wherein they can only interact with Amazon S3 and read-only access to the entire AWS console. Okay. So now let me go back to KMS and let me just refresh this page. Okay. Give the key alias a name. I'm just going to call it as sample key. Click on next. So now we have the key administrators over here. The key administrator, I'm going to go ahead and specify the key administrator to be Ashray because he is with the administrator access policy. And then we are going to log in with Akshay and see if we are able to read that data that is being encrypted using the key whose administrator is only Ashray. Okay. And you can see over here, the person who is the key administrator also has the permission in order to go ahead and delete the key, but we are not going to give that permission to Ashray right now. Click on next. And even the person who's going to use that key is also going to be the administrator user. So therefore, Akshay, who has access to only S3, still does not have any access to go ahead and use this key. And I'm going to show that with a small example with Amazon S3. And over here, you can see that you can go ahead and add other AWS accounts. And we will be talking about that going back to the slides after doing these labs as to how we would do cross-account access to KMS customer master key. Okay. Click on next. And you can see the key policy over here. Let us go ahead and click on finish. And at the same time, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and go to S3 and I'm going to create a bucket. I'm just going to call this bucket as sample bucket 2395. One thing to remember is in which region you created your customer master key. In the same region, you should create your bucket because KMS is a region based service. Okay. I'm going to click on create. Okay. So here, one thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to upload a sample object. Okay. So let me go ahead and upload a sample object. So let me just upload my SysOps Administrator Associate logo. Click on upload. And now what we are going to do is we are going to log in as the person who is the administrator, which is Ashray. And then we are going to encrypt this object using the KMS key. And then we are going to log in as Akshay, who has only limited permissions to S3. And we are going to see how it's going to affect him. Okay. So let me just log out or possibly open up an incognito window. Let me go to IAM and copy my login link for all of my users. Paste it over here. Okay, so I'm going to log in as Ashray, who is the administrator of the key as well as the user of the key and the custom password that I provided. So now the first thing that I'm going to do is before going to S3, I'm going to go to KMS and see what are all the actions that a person who has administrator access can do. I'm in the default region, which has been set to Ohio, but I'm going to shift myself to Northern Virginia. I'm going to KMS. So will I be able to add other key administrators? That's something that we are going to see. Under customer managed key, we do see this sample key over here. You can see that we have the key administrators who is Ashray and also the key users who is Ashray. Can I go ahead and add another administrator for this key? Can I go ahead and add Akshay as another administrator? It works. I don't see any error messages over here. So therefore, a person who has administrator access to the entire AWS account with that administrator access policy can do literally anything with KMS. That's something to remember. Okay. So now let's go to S3. Let me go to that respective bucket. And let me click on this object and go ahead and click on encryption. And I'm going to choose AWS KMS and choose the sample key and click on save. Click on change. Okay, that operation was successful. So right now this object is encrypted with AWS KMS. Let's see if we are able to open this because we are still logged in as with the administrator access privilege. So let me click on this object and let me copy this URL and try to open it in the browser. So I do get an access denied, and that's the reason is because I haven't made this object public. So let me go to permissions and let me go not to this object, but let me go to the bucket permissions and let me switch off block public access and click on save, click on confirm, click on confirm. And now let me go back to that object. And now let me click on this object and make it public. And now let me see if I'm able to access this. So you can see over here, request specified server-side encryption with AWS managed key. So one thing to remember right now, and this is pretty important, and I'm going to reiterate it twice for you guys. So you can see over here on the top, we are trying to access this object as an anonymous user. And this object is encrypted using AWS KMS. So even though I am the key administrator as well as the key user, who is that administrator access policy, even though I have that, since the object is right now encrypted with AWS KMS, and even though it is made public, you will still not be able to access it as an anonymous user. But if suppose I click on open over here, which authenticates and also provides a token, you can see on the long URL over here, I will be able to open this. You can see over here, you do have this long URL. You are able to open this because it also includes the security token in your request. So that's the difference between clicking on open and directly accessing the link, because directly accessing the link accesses the link using an anonymous user. But clicking on open also mentions that you are the authenticated user. Okay. So therefore, since you are the key user and you are the key administrator, you can do all of these actions. So one more thing to remember regarding the security specialty exam, if you're preparing for that, is if suppose you make your object public, you can still ensure that your object is encrypted if you're using AWS KMS. And until and unless that person who is the key user, only that person can go ahead and access that object. So let me go ahead and log out and log back in as the other user. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the link again from IAM and paste it over here. Now the second user that I'm going to log in, this person does not have the administrator access policy. This person has access to only S3 and he can do all of the operations regarding S3. And that username was called as Akshay. Okay. So now let's see what he can do. Does he have access to key management service? He has access to only the S3 service. So can this person go ahead and add a key user or a key administrator? So let us see that. So let us add a key user. Let us add ourselves as a key user. And this person right now does not have any access to S3. So even if I add this user, it may show up over here, but on the top, you should be able to get a access denied exception. And when you refresh this page, you'll be able to see that you can't add because you don't have that permission. Okay, so now let's do one more thing over here. Let's go to S3 and let's try to see if we can go ahead and possibly change the encryption strategy which is being used for the respective object. So let me go ahead and click on this object. And right now it's using AWS KMS. I'm not the key user. I'm not the key administrator. So will I be able to change this strategy? So let me go ahead and change it back to the AWS managed key for S3, which is AWS/S3, and click on save and click on change. You can see it has entered in an error. I can't even change this because it is an object that has been encrypted using the AWS KMS key, which is managed and which is administered and used by the other user, whose name is Ashray. It's not Akshay. Akshay has permission only to S3. Okay. So now let's also see one more thing, whether we will be able to open this up in the browser, even though this is made public already. Let us see if we are able to see it on the browser. We can't see this. because as an anonymous user, you will never be able to access it. But let's see if we are able to click on open and if we are able to see it. Even when we click on open, we are access denied because we are not the key users. I'm still not the key user. The person who I have logged in with, I'm not the key user. So let's do one thing. Let's log back in as the key administrator and let's add ourselves as a key user or Akshay as a key user. And then let's come back and try to click on this open button and see what happens. So let me go ahead and probably let me do that with my root account itself. So let me go to the KMS console and you can see right now that the key administrator is only Ashray and the key user is only Ashray. So I don't want Akshay to be the key administrator. I want him to be the key user. So let me click on add. So now Akshay is the key user. So now let me go back over here and let me try to open this. Let me hit a refresh. Awesome. Now I'm able to open it. I'm not getting the access denied because right now I've added myself as the key user. So these are some of the things that you have to remember going to the exam. Okay. So now let's go back to the slides and let's try to understand the cross account, sharing of your KMS key. Okay, but before that, let's do a small comparison between AWS KMS and Cloud HSM. So Cloud HSM, it's tamper resistant. It has industry standard in terms of its hardware appliance, and you can store all of your cryptographic keys over there. You can create your own symmetric, asymmetric keys. You can even export your keys. And no one but you has access to the keys, including Amazon administrators. They manage the appliance, but they still don't have access to the keys. You can use your most sensitive and regulated data on Amazon EC2 without giving applications direct access to your data's encryption keys. You can store and access data reliably from your applications that demand highly available and durable key storage for cryptographic operations. You can even offload SSL certificates with Cloud HSM. That is also possible. You can offload your SSL, traffic that comes, which possibly you would associate with your load balancer. You can also offload your SSL to Cloud HSM. That is also one more use case for Cloud HSM. You can also create your own asymmetric keys in Cloud HSM and also export it. But that exporting feature is not available with AWS KMS. And one thing to remember regarding Cloud HSM is that Cloud HSM is single tenant. It's not multi-tenant, but AWS KMS is multi-tenant, but both use hardware security modules. With regards with AWS KMS, it's centralized key management. It's a managed offering by AWS. It integrates with a lot of AWS services, which you would have seen in the previous list. It has encryption for all of your applications. So a note is both are FIPS 142 compliant, and I think KMS is at level 2 and Cloud HSM should be at level 1. And both support symmetric and asymmetric key encryption, and KMS is multi-tenant, but Cloud HSM is single tenant. And now when we talk about AWS KMS for cross-account access, to give permission to use a CMK to users and roles in another account, you have to do 2 steps. The first step is you have to modify the key policy. The second step is you have to go ahead and attach an IAM policy to the users and roles in your second account. So now let's go ahead and look at one example key policy and let's look at one example IAM policy, and then you will know what changes you have to do. Okay. So let's consider that we have 2 accounts, 1111, 2222, 3333, and then we have one more account which is 4444, 5555, 6666. Okay. So now in the key policy of the customer master key, we are specifying that the root user or possibly a specific user or a role in the 4444, 5555, 6666 account can do all of these actions on any resource within KMS. This is the first step. You have to modify your key policies to specify that the AWS principal can be the other account, which is 4444, 5555, 6666. But this key policy resides within the account 1111, 2222, 3333, where your key resides. Okay. So the next step that you have to do is you have to go to the 4444, 5555, 6666 account, and you have to go ahead and associate an IAM policy with a user or a role or a group in order to use the key that is residing in the 1111, 2222, 3333 account, and then you will be able to go ahead and specify these actions. So got the idea that you have to do 2 steps. One, you have to ensure that you specify a key policy that includes the other account, which is account B, and then you have to go ahead and modify your IAM policy in account B to ensure that you can use the KMS key in account A. I'll reiterate it again, very simple. You have account A, you have account B. Account A has the customer master key or the KMS key. Account A has the KMS key, so therefore it has the key policy. In that key policy, you have to mention account B. And now when you go to account B, you have to mention in an IAM policy that you can use the key from account A. Once you do this kind of setup, now you are ready to go ahead and use your KMS key across multiple accounts. Okay. So that's all there is regarding AWS KMS. I hope it was pretty insightful for you. And I'll probably have one more session regarding Cloud HSM a little bit later because it's pretty costly. And I would like to wrap up the lab within an hour in order to not incur a lot of charges. So thanks a lot, guys, for attending this session. I'll catch you in the next session. Please do have a lot of time to go through these lectures, and have a great day, guys. Take care and see you. Stay safe.